Okay, so today we're going to do your flexibility testing part of the fitness testing. The first muscle we're going to test is your hamstring, the back of your upper leg. What you need to do first is to fold forward and see where you can rest your hands for at least 10 seconds. Your results are going to be either 1, palms touch the floor, fingertips touch the floor, or I can't touch the floor. That's the flexibility test for your hamstrings. For your shoulders, you need to take your left hand and put it behind you. You need to then take your right hand and try to grab your left hand. Your elbow should be facing up towards the ceiling. The results for the shoulder test are fingers clasping, fingers touching, or fingers not touching. Notice if you do it on the other side, right hand behind, it's much more difficult. So start with your left. Now we're going to go down to the floor for your calves and your shins. In order to test the flexibility of your calves, you need to keep your legs completely straight. Flat on the floor, hands in your lap. Now make the attempt to flex your toes pointing towards your nose. The 2 ratings for this, for your results, are toes pointing to nose or toes pointing straight up. The next test is for your shin. For your shin, you're going to start in the same position as the calf. Legs flat on the floor, hands on your lap. This time, though, you're going to try to point your toes to the floor. It's very difficult for most people to do this, so have one of your friends take a tape measure and measure in inches the distance between your big toe and the floor. That's for your shin. Moving on to the flexibility of your hips and buttocks. You need to lay on your back for this. While you're on your back, your left leg should be straight on the floor. Your head also flat on the floor. Grab your right shin with clasped hands and try to pull your knee into your chest. If your knee can touch your chest, you right knee to chest. If your knee comes at a 45-degree angle to your chest, right 45-degree angle. If your knee cannot come close to your chest, right 90-degree angle. Make sure that the left leg stays straight and flat the entire time. If the left leg comes up while you're doing this test, that means that you are stretching beyond your flexibility. So put that left leg back into the floor and let your right leg follow suit and end up where your flexibility lies. The next test, also done lying on your back, is the upper back flexibility test. For this, you'll lie on your back, both feet fully extended, arms above your head, palms facing down. Now you'll have a friend come over to you and take their hand and put their hand underneath your low back. If their palm is able to touch the floor and your low back, your result is a palm. If they can fit a fist underneath your back, then you would write fist as your result. If you have a very large arch and they can fit more than a fist, you must write more than a fist. And that is the test for your upper back. Moving on to your quadriceps, the front of your upper leg. For your quadriceps, you're going to lie on your stomach, resting your head on your left hand, like so. While your head is rested on your hand, you're going to grab your right foot and try to touch your heel to your glute. If your heel touches your glute, that's your result. If it doesn't touch your glute, Your right heel does not touch glute. And for our last flexibility test, we have the ever so famous sit and reach. For sit and reach, you will need a wall or something to put your feet up against. Your feet should be completely straight up against the wall, flat. What you are going to do in this test is to see how long you can hold the stretch, which is testing your hamstring flexibility and your calf flexibility by holding your position up against the wall. So you'll fold forward, resting your palms on the wall if you can for 10 seconds. If you can't reach your palms, then you can reach your fingertips. If you cannot reach your fingertips to the wall, have a friend take a tape measure and measure the distance from your middle finger to the wall in centimeters. That is the sit and reach test. These are all great tests for your flexibility. Take your tests, get your ratings, set goals, and watch yourself improve. Have a great day. Okay, to do your upper body strength fitness test, you're going to do the push-up test. For the push-up test, you have to set a timer for 60 seconds and count the number of perfect form push-ups you can accomplish in 60 seconds. That will be your results to get rated. This is what a perfect push-up looks like. Hands are at least shoulder width apart, a tiny bit more. The way that I use is if there's a mat in front of me, my hands would be on the outside of the mat. Come up into full plank push-up. Back should be straight. Tush should not be up in the air, nor should you have an arch. You should be straight. This is what a perfect push-up looks like. You go down, you come up, down, up. Do that as many times as you can in 60 seconds and see how you do. So now we're going to test your abdominal strength. The way you'll test your abdominal strength is to see the number of perfect form crunches you can do in a 60-second time frame. So grab your stopwatch, start the stopwatch, and count how many perfect form crunches you can do in 60 seconds. Here's what your perfect crunch should look like for the test. Lie on your back, feet flat on the floor, knees bent. You're going to place your hands at your sides, and you're going to crunch up so your shoulders come off the floor and say 1 Mississippi. After the Mississippi, you roll down. Come back up. Your hands are always staying on the floor. Your shoulders are coming up. Make sure you're holding for 1 Mississippi on the way up. Count how many perfect form crunches you can do in 1 minute. Good luck.
Go.
Okay, the first lower body strength test is going to be your wall sit. For this, you'll need a stopwatch, but you're going to start the stopwatch at 0 and see how long you can stay in a wall sit. This is what a proper wall sit looks like. Come up against a flat wall in your house and come down into a squat up against the wall. Your legs should be at a complete 90-degree angle. Your back and head should be flush up against the wall. You start your stopwatch at this point and see how long you can stay in this position without having to quit. If you come down or up during the wall sit test, your time is over, and that's what you will write down as your result. Please make sure your heels stay planted on the floor firmly during the whole test. Always remember that 90-degree angle in your knee. Good luck. For our last test for today, we're going to do the squat strength test for your legs. You will again need a stopwatch to measure 60 seconds of time, how many perfect form squats you can do in that time frame. A perfect squat, notice from the side. My heels are always staying firmly planted on the floor. You should always be able to wiggle your toes in the toe box of your sneaker. When you're doing a squat, I either want your hands in front of you, across your chest, or on your hips. When you come down, you're coming down so that your gluteus is going back, and it is like your knees are coming down at a 90-degree angle. Once again, there's that 90-degree angle. just like you are going to sit on the chair and then come back up. Heels must stay on the floor during the whole squat test. This is the pace you should be going. Up and down. Make sure that your knee never extends past your toes. Do how many perfect squats you can do in a minute. Good luck with your squat test. This fitness test is called Balance Sit to Stand, and it really has so much to do with your core strength. This is what you need to do. You need to come down to the floor with your feet shoulder width apart and come down to the floor and sit down. If you roll back, you have to give yourself a point. Now the trick is to get up. You have to keep your feet either shoulder width apart or cross your feet. For every failed attempt that you make, you have to give yourself a point. For instance, if you try to get up and you fall back down, that's a point. If you use your hands, that's a point. If you use your knee, that's a point. Your goal is to get up in one fell swoop without using your hands, your knees, your feet, legs. Just have to get up using your core. This is what it should look like. That's balance sit to stand. If on your coming up, I'll show you again. If on your coming up, you come up and you lose your footing, each time your foot hits the ground is another point. Do the test from standing up to sitting down to standing up. Total the number of points that you get and put that down as your result. Good luck.